mental prayer. No. You just need love and making it a habit. Don't come today and then today I'm here, tomorrow I'm not there. That's lukewarmness. If you have an appointment with Christ, make it a point. Don't say ate chikatiba nange nali no genda musaloni kumatya mental prayer yange ya sawa 10 midda kati mental prayer bana gisoma ekiro akangere mu salon mental prayer nja gisoma ekiro. That means you might even not say it. You're going to even say it the wrong way because apparently you'll be doing it as a duty, or maybe you know chikola kan chikola ate spiritual director ina agenda yencha agenda bimbuza namugamba nakoze na because. But when you do it out of love, you're like, I cannot leave my God waiting. At 4, you know, okay, the salon lady can wait. I can maybe talk about her coming home, or maybe but not when you start extending your plan of life. That means that you won't do it, or you'll do it the wrong way. That means that you're going to take a mental prayer. You know, you miss out what you mental prayer. You type there maybe that you know call up macha. Ochadde saa 10 kyokka nemisatu wajisome ate bagame wali emise mulago ya saa 10 kati olaba. You're now managing by a crisis. Everything is falling apart, yet you're neglecting the most important part of your life. When your plan of life is laid out well, even other things will fall in line. Because the man management so come misa, that means I wake up early, and when you wake up late, your day goes the other way. When you wake up early, things are always good. So you wake up early. If I have tried to pray, make my plan of life again. When you're going to sleep, at least push your there's a video I watched, and he was like, put your sandals very far under your bed, so that when you're getting up in the morning, you first get on your knees to pick your sandals. Then you remember, oh, I have to pray. Then you don't get up before finishing your prayer. So that at least you move out of the house with God. Because now you have to tell him about your day. Not telling him, but then he has already given you the graces. So that you modify it. He has given you the graces of so that you don't miss out on the crosses, because we say crosses are blessings. So when you have been talking to Christ, you will understand more God. Because when you don't talk to God, that means talking a bit again. No one else your trials, you would not understand. If you have no conversation with God, that means you will not offer up anything. That means you do not know. You do not know God, and then your life will be a mess, because you don't know what Christ did about it. You do not know what Christ wants of you, because you do not have your interior life is dead. You do not have conversations with him. You have no relationship with God. You do not talk to him. So that means that you do not know his life. You do not know what he wants from you. Maybe even the things that you could have rejoiced in, yet he's giving you blessings. Some people sent he's giving me blessings. Yesterday I talked to him about this, and then what about them? For them, they are enjoying. But you do not know. Everyone is fighting their own demons. You don't know what they are going through. When you ask to be put into their shoes, you don't even want to stay there a night or even an hour. So everyone is suffering in their own way. So let's embrace that little time in the day that we have with Christ. Let's make sure that if your mental prayer is at this time, make sure that all you at that time. Don't keep Jesus waiting. At least if you know that you're going to be late, be there 5 minutes before. Then you might be asking, how do I do my mental prayer? Okay, yeah, you have said about mental prayer. I have to do my mental prayer on time, blah, blah. So how do I do it? Like, how do I even start? Why is it even called mental prayer? So you start with a preparatory prayer. Well, preparatory prayer, Alphonsus of Ligori. I would like to use the one from Saint Joseph Maria since we are more conversant with it. At engaging in confirmation, so it will be easier to relate. So this is the preparatory prayer. It says, "My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me." My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. And the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. So this preparatory prayer is helping you to say, sometimes maybe you have not gone to church, and then maybe you could get a place, maybe you could make yourself a simple altar. Maybe you take it financially, any you prefer, or a saint if you have. And then this preparatory prayer helps us to come back, like for this time when we're going to talk to Christ, to detach ourselves from the worldly noise, everything, all the confusion, everything that we are worried about, and give our time specifically to Christ. So we are at this moment, we are acknowledging that you believe that God is present at that time, and that He is going to listen to whatever you're trying to communicate, all your worries, your joys, your plans, your future plans. He's going to listen to your conversations, to your worries about maybe your job, your mom, your sister, a friend who is sick, yourself, maybe because you feel like your spiritual life is a mess. Your life, your normal life is also a mess. And then you believe that He's going to listen to these things because He knows, He created you and He knows what He can do for you, or He's going to give you the graces. You're believing, you have faith that He's going to listen to you. And then you're asking for pardon because you're not clean. Even when you think that you have not sinned, sometimes you have sinned, either with your mind, or maybe like there are times that you sin and you do not know. Maybe you gossiped about someone. So you're asking for pardon for your sins, and you're not clean. You're going to talk to someone who is all holy, all pure, and you, the impure being, you're looking up at God on high to hear you out. Then we ask for the grace, because there are very many things that are going to distract you. Either maybe wadoli waka waliwo abaana, maybe wali bagenda kuyita oli akuyita waliwo akayimba kazzeko kyokka wakatandika mental prayer. I've already told God today I'm going to be serious about it, but that's when the devil brings on your best song and then you're tempted to go. So those are all tests of love. There was a time I had said like we had said like 2 rosaries, and then at the time to town we went to visit. I think we went to Christ the King. He wanted us to go back again to visit Saint Kizito. Trust me, the subject. Because I felt like, and I even did my mental prayer. I even did my spiritual reading. My plan of life stops here. So we are mixing up our plans. Like yet he also maybe finished his, but then he said that it's not because you're busy. I remember giving an excuse. I don't remember what I said, but I gave an excuse why I cannot go back. Nangamba, it's not because you're busy. It's because your love is short. So sometimes it's not because we are busy, or maybe you can't make time for prayer, but it's because you actually do not love God enough. You do not love Him enough to give Him some of your time. You do not love Him enough to give up that song. You do not love Him enough maybe to tell your friend, maybe I've sung them as mother. Sometimes over there was to make a perfect mental prayer, and then some friend of yours walks in, but you cannot tell them because maybe you're embarrassed to tell them that you're doing a mental prayer. They won't understand or something. You get, but it's because our love is short. So if God has loved us this much, let's ask Him to teach us to love Him well, because of course you can't love God enough, but with His help you can love Him at least rightly. Then, since we have intercessors, we now go to our mother, my Immaculate Mother, because she knows her son better, and then she also knows you. She's a mother. She knows your weaknesses. She'll get distracted, or maybe I don't even know how to pray. Like every time I pray, I feel like my prayers because I'm not even answered, or maybe because I don't even feel. Other friends of mine tell me when they pray, they feel their hearts about do what, or but I don't get it, and I want to feel it. I feel like dry. I feel I the same way I went is the same way I have come back. Saint Teresa of the Child Jesus says that mental prayer should be a habit, like it should be like a habit. You do not go today. Okay, yes, today you had spiritual dryness. The next day, things will get better because you're growing. It takes the same way you start, the same way you found this girl, and then okay, apart from those people that talk about love at first sight, the same way you found this girl and then you started falling for them slowly by slowly. Is the same way. You have to handle godly things, but of course the spiritual things are handled with more intensity because they should be our first priorities. But you have to learn Christ, give Christ more time, which okay, I know maybe you feel sometimes, because I don't know, those who have loved, maybe you feel like you cannot, love is love, you want to separate Christ's love from earthly love. Then the chogeddeko chidala nnyo tokicomparing kwekyo kino kyogereko nga but we are talking about a man that you're going to ask, how much have you loved me? And he's just going to raise his hands for you, and then you already know how much he has loved you. You even be dumb stricken because it's too much. When you think about Jesus' love, now it will happen in mental prayer, because now you understand this person. How much has he loved me really? Even when I still find the same love, yet you're here with someone else whom you're going to annoy, and then the next time you come back, you have to write like a number of lines filled with apologies, and then you're leaving the open arms. Yet it's this person who is going to even make this love better. It's the same person you're going to talk about, you're going to talk to about this other love that you found, and you ask them to make it right, to make maybe to help you both love in the right way, love in his path, because God is love. And then you're leaving the open arms, the teacher of what you're already practicing and ignorant about. So we go to Mary Immaculate to ask her to help us love her child more, her child well, because Mary understood Jesus. Mary knew Jesus. Because even when his time was not yet, when he was at the wedding at Cana, it was not yet his time to perform a miracle. But because Mary knew Jesus, she got him to perform a miracle. When we all couldn't understand Jesus at the cross, a king suffering, when we had already seen his glory and all that, like he cannot just, pull out the nails and then walk again. Mary understood what Jesus had done. Yet us, Mary understood. So let's go to Mary, because she knows well the heart of Jesus. Let's ask, she had conversations with Christ throughout his childhood when he was grown. So she knows his son. So here, we are calling upon our Immaculate Mother so that she can help us, so that we can have a more fruitful conversation with Christ. So that, because since Mother Mary knows what her son wants, she won't even let us be mean with our prayers. Because she's guiding us, we'll get to even talk about other people who need our help. She'll guide us through prayer, because she has done it before, and she has done it better than almost every one of us. Better than everyone. Then we go to Saint Joseph. We call upon Saint Joseph to help us, because he was Jesus' father. And Saint Joseph is also, like, maybe we also call upon him for the what? For the vocations. For those who are headed for the married vocations. We also call upon Saint John, if I didn't mention him here, for the celibate vocations. Then just like when you're in a meeting and then maybe you have a chief whip to tell these ones to keep quiet, tell you maybe to keep order in the room and all that. Our guardian angels at least help us to be recollected. They help us to avoid those distractions during our prayer. Then when we are fully put together, because already ogambi katonda wange mukama wange omubulidde manyi ndi mwonoonyi, and you have asked pardon for your sins. Oyise maybe abatuukirivu Bikira Maria bakuyambeko ngokola ki ngoyogera ne katonda wo, because you do not know well how to speak to God, how to pray to God, but with their help you do it perfectly. Then you start talking to God, but you talk to God with respect, but yet as a friend. You ask questions and maybe remain silent for answers. Mental prayer it's not verbal. It happens interiorly. Then after talking to God, you may be asking that maybe, okay, if you're starting, you could do 15 minutes, then you go increasing with time, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, then an hour. But at least every day. There was a time I had failed to balance my plan of life, and I kept on leaving out the mental prayer, because first and foremost I thought it was long, like the old 30 minutes saying what? Because I was saying things and then I feel like we were there, you can't take an entire okay that. So sometimes I would just sit there and then be like, oh, my spiritual director will ask about this, so let me just finish the 30 minutes, maybe just looking at Jesus. But when you grow to love Christ, because it has gotten intense, it's now personal, you still want to talk to Christ, you feel his presence, you feel like you're laughing about things, you're crying and laughing at the same time, because apparently there is something that maybe happened during the day, and then maybe it feels like God has reminded you about it, and then maybe you're laughing with Christ because he's a friend. It doesn't have to be all serious. You're having a conversation with him, you're telling him about your joys. Yeah, I'm happy about this. Maybe you're telling him about tomorrow, you're telling him about your future plans. So you cannot tell me you're going to fail to talk to Christ about anything. You have people around you, people are suffering, there are people who do not know Jesus, there are people who have gotten a very different view about prayer, about having maybe even like an hour of prayer with Christ. Some people who think that it's okay to only have Sunday Mass for a Christian, and that's it. Do not have what to say to Jesus. Talk to him about what hurts him. I'm sorry, I saw maybe on TV those people that were maybe throwing away your mother's sculptures. I saw maybe the Christians being persecuted, and I'm so sorry that they're going through that. Pray for them. The souls in purgatory, all those things we need to pray for. So a conversation with Christ can be a very long one when you have love. So that's why you have to keep on praying. You have to make it a habit, because no muntu agenda okuwa omulimu obanga oli ku probation, obwagazi bwe bukwesa omulimu. If you keep on coming late for a job, namba onakyeka tagwagala, nenzijukira oli yalinga akeera nenkola ki nengumuwa. So you can't sit home, you don't even talk about what you want with God, and then you're like, oh my, njagala kubeera kino, when you don't even show that you want what you're asking for. Prayer moves God. So you have to pray and pray all the time. Praying does not mean that you have to be kneeling. Praying all the time, you can have a conversation with God even when you're going to work. I'm not saying, but the mental prayer should have a time. But the mental prayer is a conversation with God. But there is a time that you should be fully recollected for God. But it doesn't mean that you do not have to have a conversation with God in other times throughout your day. I've talked about how long your mental prayer could be. I say 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, because it is difficult to go deeper with God if you give him less time. You can increase the time in the long run. Then making resolutions. If I have come and I have, how many days?
15.
Okay. If I have come and I am talking to God, now we have finished the opening prayer, we have talked to Jesus. Now this is the closing prayer. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect or practice. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. You're still reminding them to help you throughout the fight that you're going to right now. Because they won't come up. Because you're going back to the world. Maybe you'll be faced with even more bitter temptations or maybe situations and you're asking them to intercede for you so that you can, fight a good fight. After the closing prayer, you have to do what you have after. When you go to do your mental prayer, you have to make resolutions, because you have come because you want to be better. You want to be like Christ. Because Jesus once told Sister Faustina that the bride must resemble the groom. So you have to be like Christ, because he's all holy, and he wants us to be as holy as he is. That he went through the same thing as we go through. So if you are failing at something, go talk to Jesus. He has an answer for you. Making resolutions. Try to make a firm resolution after you pray. So be practical. Don't make resolutions that you're not going to keep. For example, if some resolutions are going to take time, so you could just say something. For example, if you say you want to make a resolution to love God more, love takes time. So if you're going to love God more, that means that you're going to give God time. That means you're going to love your neighbor, because the greatest commandment is love. And if God is all love, that means you're going to be patient with the people around you. Maybe you could ask, how am I going to love God? Okay, yes, I want to love God more. How am I going to love God more? Yes. You're going to love God more by doing what pleases God. By being patient with others. By helping out others for the love of God. By going miles for people for love of God. Not for your own glory, but for the glory of God. So you could start with maybe your immediate neighbors. Maybe your mom needs something. You don't have to tell them that I'm doing this for the love of God. You don't even have to show them that you're helping them. You could try going unnoticed. Because even Christ said that Christ made himself a servant to men. So you have to be very humble. You cannot go around telling people the good things that you have done for them if you want to have love of God. You have to love them the same way Christ would have loved them. Then I'll tell you a story about Saint Francis of Assisi. So Saint Francis of Assisi, his father was a wealthy man. Then when Saint Francis of Assisi detached himself from his father's wealth, the whole town of Assisi was surprised, and most of them were like, he has not converted, he's just a fool. And then one gentleman, a nobleman called Bernard, took him home because he had nowhere to stay. So he gave him shelter for the night, because he wanted to see really if he has really converted, or he's going to, he's just fooling the whole town. So he took him home, and that night he gave him a bed, and then when they all fell down to sleep, Saint Francis of Assisi pretended he snored loudly, and then when he thought that his friend had slept off, he got up from the comfort and then knelt down on the hard ground and then prayed to God. He said he prayed saying, Deus meus et omnia, which means my God and my all. Until when the sun came out. So that shows omuntu okubeera nga oyogera ekyo kyokka. He wasn't saying very many words. So sometimes you say, I don't know how to pray. Say that those few words, that there is power in repetition. There is power in repetition. So you could just say those sweet words to Christ when you're in front of that, when you're doing your mental prayer. My God, my all. That means he loved God that much that he left everything And then even when he left everything, he felt like he had not even done enough. He was still praising God. He was still saying, my God, my all. Do your mental prayer and pray for all those people, so that the same way you pray to God. St. Francis of Assisi converted his friend Bernard after some time, also followed St. Francis of Assisi. And sometimes it's what we do. When people see the way you live your life, they see that you're a Christian. Sometimes you do not. If you have, sometimes have you realized when I have first gone to Powercrest, first when I went there when I was still a kid, but okay, when I had started getting serious with my plan of life, you would go even when you're in church. No one, no gain the intenda. You could tell someone who has a special relationship with God, even when they are praying. Or maybe at least if you have gone to the work, you can notice a member of the work without even asking when you're in a new church, right? Because when you know how to talk to God, everything else does not matter, because God becomes your all, just like Saint Francis. And when you talk to him, it's like you're madly in love with God. So you even end up laughing for no reason, and everyone will be like, why would someone laugh in prayer? But maybe and then maybe you laugh about your weakness or this and this, and then maybe okay, you have been denying something, and then now because you're with Christ, it's open book, and then you're like, okay, I know I did this, but I'm sorry. So he's our friend. You laugh about it and make your resolution never to do this again. If you say you don't know how to pray, put yourself in the presence of God, and once you have said, Lord, I don't know how to pray, be rest assured that you have begun to do so. Because even when in the Bible, Jesus he's the one who taught his disciples how to pray. He taught them the Our Father. So tell Jesus you do not know how to pray, and he will teach you. Slowly consider what you are saying, to whom it is being said, and by whom. For that hurried talk without time for reflection is just empty noise. Remember, this is God. You can't just come, everything like a tape record. Then Padre Pio said, those who pray more will be saved. Those who pray little are in great danger, and those who do not pray are certainly damned. Saint Teresa of the Child Jesus defined mental prayer as nothing else but intimate friendship, a frequent heart-to-heart conversation with by whom we know ourselves to be loved. We are all sure. Even those who do not pray are sure that God loves them. Even those who sometimes say, I'm not sure that God exists, you still find them at some point saying, God loves me. So we are sure that God loves us. We only have to go there and immerse ourselves into this love. He who neglects mental prayer needs not a devil to carry him to hell, but he brings himself to hell with his own hands. Because if you do not do mental prayer, that means you're not talking to someone who can help you, who can give you some of the tactics to use against the devil. Maybe when you're in conversation with God, you get more ways to stay away. You will know that, you will see that whenever I go here, I sin. Whenever I do this, I fall. Maybe these days, what can I do to always be cheerful, so that everyone doesn't be like, manan, or you're always gloomy, no one can approach you, because man is a social being. So it's not good that you cannot be approached by anyone. So if no one is comfortable around you, because maybe we can have everything and then it pisses you off. No line. Go to Christ and let Him teach you how. If a conversation with God is so easy. You could even tell when Jesus would call when they were tired, when they crossed the lake, and then they were tired after the preaching and all that, they went to rest with His disciples. And during that time, He had normal conversations with them. They would talk about different things. He would teach them about this and that. So you're going back to the teacher, to our friend. You're telling him about why. He told me about this last time, but every day nothing wrong. So if you say you do not have time for mental prayer, you cannot say that you do not have time for mental prayer, because you cannot. It's like saying that you do not have time to read, yet you're very sure you have an exam. If you're very sure you have an exam, even when you're very busy, you'll make time. I have a friend who keeps on telling me that, Maria, you have to make time for what you want. That's why I'm telling you that if you do not have time for mental prayer, that means you have not yet loved God enough. Your love is still short. So we need to make time for mental prayer, because it brings us closer to God. St. Alphonsus says it is morally impossible for him who neglects mental prayer to live without sin, which is true, because if you do not go back to the doctor when you know that there is this that's temptation. That's because those are the crosses that we get. A Christian has to expect a cross every day. So if you do not talk to God on a daily basis, if you do not make it a habit, that means that you're going to go unarmed. That means tomize empeke egenda kutaasa weba kuba wagenda kuba kunyama. In conclusion, mental prayer is a very important part in everyone's life. It's something that you should not miss out. So if you cannot do your mental prayer in the evening, wake up very early. If you say you're so busy and maybe you wake up at 7, at least wake up at 6, so that you can put your plan of life into practice. Because I remember I told you that it's the engine that drives your whole life. We're only passing through, and if you do not put first what is supposed to be put first, that means you end up concentrating on the wrong things, and then when you have no time, you start remembering the time you wasted. Thank you. Let's have our closing prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Saint Joseph,
Pray for us.